Everything you need to control your WinPE environment you can do through the Bootstrap settings in the console. This allows you to add and remove packages into WinPE, and it also allows you to add and remove drivers in WinPE as well. Let's go ahead and look at the Bootstrap settings and I'll show you what I mean. In the top, we have our WinPE packages, and there's 4 already listed. You can't remove these 4 because these are required in order to use smartImager. However, you can add packages from here by using the drop-down box and choosing, let's say, PowerShell, clicking Add, and you're going to have to go ahead and choose Leave the page in order for that page to refresh. Now, if you're adding PowerShell, you'll also need to add .NET as well. So we're going to go ahead and choose that and click Add, leave the page and let it refresh again. And when we click Save, those packages will then be added into our WinPE environment, both for the 32-bit and for the 64-bit WinPE. Additionally, we can add drivers here. Any driver that's going to be listed under WinPE drivers comes directly from your driver repository. So if you open this, you can choose any driver from the list and go ahead and click Add, and when you click Save, it's going to be added into your WinPE environment. Additionally, you can state whether or not you want to allow the network or a removable media to be the default instance in the media order. So for instance, you can change our settings here from use the local removable media first over to use the network deployment first. You can turn on and off UVNC if you want. If you allow UVNC in your environment to be able to remote control computers as you're imaging and remotely, leave that on. If you don't, you can always turn it off. Lastly, we can add and remove deployment paths. A deployment path is going to be a share or a UNC share, basically a CIF share, that allows you to do imaging or allows you to grab the files as you're doing imaging anywhere in your environment. Let's go ahead and open up a share and I'll show you how to do this. What we'll do is we will add a share here. And I'll go ahead and click Add, and I'm merely putting in the IP address. I'm going to scroll down to see the settings listed here. For the path, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose that UNC path that I want to use. And by typing in the IP address, it automatically gives me my path. I'll choose the folder I want to use for my deployment. I'll click OK. And then from here, I can give it credentials in order to log on. So I'll go ahead and do that. And now I can choose whether or not I want to set a latency filter as well as a maskless filter. So for instance, in my max latency, if I choose 7 here, when the computer that I'm imaging pings out to its different deployment paths and sees this one, if the latency is greater than 7 milliseconds, it knows it cannot use that path. That allows you to basically deploy anywhere and make sure that it's not grabbing its files over the WAN. Additionally, I can set up a maskless filter here. So if I did this and allowed local traffic here, this will make sure that if it's not on the 192.168.2 network, then it cannot use this share to grab files from. I'll go ahead and click Update here, and then from here I'll go ahead and click Save, and now I've saved that deployment path, and now I have an extra place that I can do imaging from. Keep in mind, when you're doing imaging, a small XML file will go back and forth between the client and the smartImager server. Now that I've clicked Save, I still need to publish to make all these changes available in my environment. So if I look over here, I'll see that my Bootstrap settings and configuration file settings need to be updated. So I'll go ahead and choose any changes, and now it's going to mount those WIMs, those boot WIMs for WinPE, both the 32-bit and the 64-bit, and it'll add the packages that I've told it to add, it'll add the drivers that I told it to add, and then it'll sync with WDS, and so your environment will automatically be up to date for what you made changes in the Bootstrap settings for. Keep in mind that if you've made a USB key and you've created any changes in the Bootstrap settings, you need to update that USB key, which is why the Media Creator button is located on the Bootstrap page. If you want to know how to use PXE or to use USB key to boot clients in your environment, please see our video deploying with PXE or USB. Well, that's about it as far as the Bootstrap settings. Keep in mind, you can always contact us at contact@smartimager.com, or if you ever have any questions, please hit us up at support@smartimager.com.